top of the hour every weekday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Fourth French presents discussion, debate, commentaries on social, political issues, current events, sports, entertainment, religion, education, science, and every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. for a full presentation on controversial issues such as war on blacks, are Republicans dumber than Democrats? Information which might irritate you, make you cry, make you laugh, but above all, will make you smarter. Join us every time. It is the right thing to do. It is the only way to keep your sanity in a world of chaos, hypocrisy, immorality, and deception. Welcome to Common Sense.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Fourth Branch program, the place for common sense. Today is Thursday, May 30th, 2019. We begin again today with the reading of the Mueller report. At least we continue with the reading of the Mueller report. We do have a very interesting program today following the reading of the Mueller report. We will take a look at two major important aspects of what has been going on in the country. We also will take a look at how do we solve the problem that the country has been going through for the past couple of years. I do have a couple of solutions and I will propose them to you. Of course, that doesn't mean we have the answer to all the questions, but at the very least, we'll start the conversation as to what can the country do. Because in this political environment, there is a lot of noise. Even for the most intelligent individual, it may be overwhelming. But as we mentioned, this is going to happen in segment 2. This is segment 1, in which we simply resort to reading and continuing reading of the Mueller report. Stay with us. We will be right back to begin the reading. My name is MD, and you are on the Fourth Branch program, the place for common sense. The next section of the Mueller report we will be reading from it is from the more than 400 pages of redacted report, and we're still in the executive summary aspect of the report. This is 2, intrusion targeting the administration of U.S. election. That is, intrusion targeting the administration of U.S. election. In addition to targeting individuals involved in the Clinton campaign, GRU officers also targeted individuals and entities involved in the administration of the election. Victims included U.S. states and local entities such as State Boards of Election, SBOE, Secretary of States, and county government, as well as individuals who worked for those entities. The GRU also targeted private technology firms responsible for manufacturing and administering election-related software and hardware, such as voter registration software and electronic polling station. The GRU continued to target these victims through the election in November 2016, while the investigation identified evidence that the GRU targeted these individuals and entities. The office did not investigate further. The office did not, for instance, obtain or examine servers or other relevant items belonging to these victims. The office understands that the FBI, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and the states have separately investigated that activity. By at least the summer of 2016, GRU officers sought to access the state and local computer networks by exploiting known software vulnerabilities on websites of state and local governmental entities. GRU officers, for example, targeted state and local databases of registered voters using a technique known as SQL injection, by which malicious code was sent to the state or local website in order to run commands such as exfiltrating the database contents. In one instance, on approximately June of 2016, the GRU compromised the computer network of the Illinois State Board of Election by exploiting a vulnerability in the SBOE's website. Its State Board of Election, an abbreviation SBOE. The GRU then gained access to a database containing information on millions of registered Illinois voters and extracted data related to thousands of US voters before the malicious activity was identified. GRU officers, and the name has been redacted, scan data and local websites for vulnerabilities. For example, over a 2-day period in July of 2016, GRU officers, name redacted, for vulnerabilities on websites of more than 24 states. The following page, the first paragraph, has been redacted. The only thing we can read from that first paragraph is similar, and the word is redacted, for vulnerabilities continued through the election. Unit 74455, for those of you who have heard it for the first time, this is a unit of Russian government whose job is to do cyber attack. Unit 744 also sent spear phishing email to public officials involved in election administration and personnel at companies involved in voting technologies. In August of 2016, GRU officers targeted employees of, name of company redacted, a voting technology company that developed software used by numerous U.S. counties to manage voter rolls and installed malware on the company network. Similarly, in November of 2016, the GRU sent spear phishing email to over 120 email accounts used by Florida county officials responsible for administering the 2016 U.S. election. The spear phishing email contained an attached Word document coded with malicious software commonly referred to as a Trojan that permitted the GRU to access the infected computer. The FBI was separately responsible for this investigation. We understand the FBI believes that this operation enabled the GRU to gain access to the network of at least one Florida county government. The office did not independently verify that belief and, as explained above, did not undertake the investigative steps that would have been necessary to do so. Item D. Trump campaign and the dissemination of hot material. The Trump campaign showed interest in WikiLeaks releases of hot material throughout the summer and fall of 2016. The remaining part of this paragraph has been redacted. Although there are two other paragraphs in this page, one which contains the bulleted point 1 redacted, and the other one that contains another sub-bulleted point, which is A for background, those two items also are completely redacted. In the following page, the item B, contact with the campaign about WikiLeaks, paragraph completely redacted except for the following. On June 12, 2016, Assange claimed in a televised interview to have email relating to Hillary Clinton which are pending publication but provided no additional context. And the following paragraph started with this sentence. In the briefing with the office, former Deputy Campaign Chairman Rick Gates said that everything that Rick Gates said has been redacted. Now the last sentence of the paragraph read as follows. Gates recalled candidate Trump being genuinely frustrated that the Clinton email had not been found. In the following and last paragraph, the only part that is not redacted said Paul Manafort, who would later become campaign chairman, and the remaining part of the paragraph has been redacted. Michael Cohen, former executive vice president of the Trump administration and special counsel to Donald J. Trump, told the office that he recalled an an incident in which he was in candidate Trump's office in Trump Tower. The remaining part of this paragraph has been redacted except for the following. Cohen further told the office that after WikiLeaks' subsequent release of stolen DNC email in July of 2016, candidate Trump said to Cohen something to the effect of, whatever that was has been redacted. In the following paragraph, the first couple of sentences have been redacted. According to Gates, Manafort expressed excitement about the release, whatever information after that word has been redacted. Manafort, for his part, told the office that shortly after WikiLeaks' July 22nd release, Manafort also spoke with candidate Trump. What follows has been redacted except for the last part, the last sentence rather. Manafort also redacted wanted to be kept apprised of any Manafort wanted to be kept apprised of any development with WikiLeaks and separately told Gates to keep in touch, name redacted, about future WikiLeaks releases. According to Gates, by the late summer of 2016, the Trump campaign was planning a press strategy, a communication campaign, and messaging based on the possible release of Clinton email by WikiLeaks. The next two sentences of this paragraph have been redacted. While Trump and Gates were driving to LaGuardia Airport, the next part of that sentence has been redacted. Shortly after the call, candidate Trump told Gates that more releases of damaging information would be coming. Earlier we heard that Trump had nothing to do with Russia, did not know anything about Russia. The following paragraph has been completely redacted. The next bulleted point, C, also has been redacted. The content of the bulleted point, the first three paragraphs, has been redacted. The only part visible in the last paragraph, which most of it has been redacted, is the following. Corsi is an author who holds a doctorate in political science. In 2016, Corsi also worked for the media outlet World Net Daily. In the following page, the first two sentences of the paragraph have been redacted. Corsi told the office during interviews that he must have previously discussed Assange with Mueller. The remaining part of this paragraph has been redacted. In the next paragraph, the first three sentences have been redacted and labeled grand jury. According to Mueller, Corsi asked him to put Corsi in touch with Assange, whom Corsi wished to interview. Mueller recalled that Corsi also suggested that individuals in the orbit of UK politician Nigel Farage might be able to contact Assange and ask if Mueller knew them. Mueller told Corsi that he would think about the request but made no actual attempt to connect Corsi with Assange. The remaining part of this page has been redacted, labeled harm to ongoing matter. Mueller stated to investigators that beginning in or about August 2016, he and Corsi had multiple FaceTime discussions about WikiLeaks. Remaining part of that sentence has been redacted. Had made a connection to Assange and that the hacked email of John Podesta would be released prior to election day and would be helpful to the Trump campaign. In one conversation in or around August or September 2016, Corsi told Mueller that the release of the Podesta email was coming, after which we were going to be in the driver's seat. Everything else in this page has been redacted, labeled harm to ongoing matter. The page that follows also has been completely redacted. Yesterday, we watched for the first time Robert Mueller providing what you would call a brief summary of what transpired from his investigation. As you might have already guessed, even the few pages that we were able to read tell you that it was not just some Russian operation that tried to harm the US election, and there was no collaboration. All of the evidence, as you saw in the different actors, whether it's Rick Gates, Paul Manafort, Corsi, Mueller, all of them pointed to the fact that Donald Trump was very much involved in expecting releases of email. Now, whether he personally wanted those things to happen or he simply enjoyed the benefits of such, but there is no doubt whatsoever when you read the detail of the report, even the unredacted portion, no matter how naive any individual were to be, it should leave no doubt in your mind that the individual who aspired to the highest office in the land, the individual whose primary job would be to protect the nation, the individual whose primary job would be to make certain that our enemies stay away, was actually the individual in bed with the United States' #1 enemy. As we will discuss in segment 2, it is one thing to claim patriotism, But it is very different when all the action you take, all the words that you utter clearly show that you could not care less about the country which have provided you with so many opportunities. Which political party can possibly be so important for any individual who value his or her democracy not to stand up against the government who try to undermine that? Ron Paul, who is the father of Rand Paul, the current senator from Kentucky, said that true patriot would stand up to his government when the government is wrong. That's what a true patriot does. It is not to defend your political party. It is not to defend a man. Even George Washington, our first president, someone who is by any analysis a great man, warned us against the imposture of pretended patriotism. He didn't put himself above anything. To George Washington, the country is the ultimate prize and we should protect it at all costs. And yet today, it should be no surprise to anyone to see that the Republican Party in its entirety, legislators and constituents alike, have completely abandoned the idea of patriotism. Yes, they continue to claim they are patriot. They continue to believe that they can be patriot and still abandoning the principle of patriotism. And most have defined patriotism as standing up and putting your hands on your chest, and that should do it. Notwithstanding the fact that the very individual who sits in the Oval Office has completely relinquished his duty, has violated the oath of office to protect the United States of America. But that individual is not worth any protection from anyone and by anyone, and yet the country has watched aghast millions of individuals supporting and helping that very individual to undermine the very constitution which have provided us the democracy that the world envies. At this point, it should be pretty obvious that we need to do something. Not just shrug off, not just hope, not just wish, but we, the people, those at the very least who have common sense, those at the very least who are patriots, true patriots, cannot simply sit around and hope that those individuals who are naive, gullible, and ignorant would help redeem the country. Because after 2 years, it should be pretty obvious that those individuals do not care about the United States of America. And we will show you in segment 2 what we as a country can do in order to save those who also participate in the destruction of our nation.
If you are a patriot, you cannot not be outraged. Because this is not a matter of being Democrat or being Republican. Because the very reason that our democracy survives is because of that very structure of our government. The minute that you don't have any oversight, then at that point, the idea of democracy in the United States of America ceases to exist. So if you are a Republican and you think it's okay, then you too are no patriot. There is no other word of saying it. No matter what you hear people saying, trying to sugarcoat, trying to go around to explain it to you, that's all it means. If you are okay with what is currently going on with Donald Trump, with the Republican Party, you categorically are not a patriot. And no matter what you think of yourself, you are not a patriot. Because a patriot is someone who would give or who would make sacrifice sometimes of his or her own life, let alone sacrifice a political party in order to preserve the democracy, in order to preserve the Constitution, in order to preserve the rule of law. So if you cannot do that, don't talk to anyone about being patriot, because you are no patriot. That was an update through the prism of common sense. Join us again at the top of the hour. I am MD, host of the Fourth Branch program, the place for common sense. Send us comments, criticism, suggestion, or simply let us know how we're doing. Thank you for watching. See you in just a bit. The Fourth Branch podcast is brought to you in collaboration with the People Branch publication, which can be found on the People Branch website, located at peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org website, in which you will find a number of very interesting articles. My name is Mike Duchesne, MD for short. I hope you have a great afternoon or a great evening, whichever it happens to be. Hopefully you can join me again next time for another interesting episode of this podcast. That was the Fourth Branch, live from New York. Good day.